welcome back. Lauren noted that it should be a little bit more energized. So welcome back. This
We'll
is
get you
domains
coffee soon, too.
I'll get my coffee soon. This is domains 201. And this is the Q&A for building out domain session. So we understand that, there are no Q's and A's in the Discord. So we wanted to take this moment until they come flooding in, which we know they will.
And we'll ask our own questions and answer our own questions.
Or we could pull the whole Bueller. Bueller. That would be nice, right? That's good pedagogy. But we do want to take this opportunity, given we have about a 15-minute block, to look a little bit at JET backups, because that is something that has come up at least once over the course of the morning. So we have JET backups that we can pull into the stream. See that? It's magic.
I'm prepared. Yeah. Thank you. So I'm actually screen sharing and looking at my own cPanel account. So this is shared hosting. You'll see the Reclaim Hosting brand because of that. But just imagine a State U brand or your domain of one's own brand. So using our imagination here, but essentially the tools are the same, right? So in cPanel, you have your own JET backup icon. Of course, you all as administrators may have decided to turn this off. So that is an option you can do. If you're not seeing it, it's probably disabled at the cPanel level. That doesn't mean backups aren't happening. It just means your end users don't have access to them. So that is just something to keep in mind, that if you disable this, you are going to have to provide those backups to your users in a different way. But if we click that JET backup icon here, we can just talk a little bit about what's possible. So you have access to the full account backup, the entire cPanel account. You can also do just file level backups and database backups, and of course, other things like email and cron jobs, DNS zones. So I find that that's really helpful, particularly if I need to restore just a single file or a single directory, and I don't actually need to restore the database. So sometimes that's kind of nice just to go in there and look at those dates from when those backups were created. And you can see I have quite a few of them because I've been playing around in this account for some time. So we have, some that go back even to 2021, which is crazy.
Yeah,
actually. So these are all stored remotely, not in my account.
You may not got so lucky, just so you know, you should be 30 days. If you're looking for a year of backups, they may not come through.
I think we're dealing with, there's a couple instances where there's entries of older backups.
You
Most
can
of
just
them
say
should
I'm
be 30
special.
30 days.
Yes.
Yeah, I have special treatment. That's fine. So anyway, I can literally go down into a specific directory. You can see some of the ones I've played around with, Omeka Test, for example, and pull out specific files. That's obviously an empty directory, so I'm not seeing much there, but you can get super granular and then select a file and restore or download that file. So it's pretty cool with how granular you can get. So you would choose the timestamp first that you want to work with, and then select the content that you want to work with. So popping back here again, this was in the file backups. If I go to a full backup, you can see those incremental backups are, again, I've got a couple stored from quite a while ago, but I can go through and see some of my more recent backups here as well. And I can restore a backup or generate that download. I've also got additional pages there. I was like, my last backup was April, but no, there are multiple pages. So that's good to know that we are actually backing up.
Fire.
Like, behind the scenes, I was like, oh, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
JET backup, I was just going to say, is a really good tool, particularly for those use cases we talked about where your students or your users aren't working in Installatron. I have worked with people who have accidentally nuked their HTML sites, and JET backup is it's a great way to bring those back and to help make sure that people know, hey, you can stay calm. It's okay.
JET backup's also much, because you can go in and grab individual files, and I love the download option that lets you just download the files instead of restore them. So I've done that with, like, someone has a WordPress site maybe, but they've like accidentally messed up like their wp-config file.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know if I happen to know it's that file, I could just go look at an old one and decide whether I want to restore it, or maybe that's not the issue and I move on,
You
right?
can
So
compare
that's super
contrast.
handy to have that control. Whereas in Installatron, you kind of just have to restore the backup and be like, well, this is what it is now. And maybe it helps you, but that granularity is actually huge.
I'll tell you, this little chat has inspired me to create a new T-shirt called "Stay Calm, Restore from Jet Backup."
Stay calm.
Less
Have
catchy.
backups. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Stay
We've
calm.
got backups.
Backups are on the way. What's the I don't know. Maybe you all could help. What the
Yeah.
best?
Stay
Stay
calm.
calm.
Stay
Restore
calm
from
and
Jet
arsenic
Backup.
gone.
Also, I mean, I know we don't talk about DNS zone backups often when we're talking about Jet Backup, but I actually think that's super handy if you had to, reset your DNS zone, for example. Sometimes that's a troubleshooting tip that we have to use. And then if you've got custom text records or things in there that are kind of a pain to fill in, you can go back and look at what those are.
I'm going to peel back the curtain a little bit. I'm still learning Reclaim support. I had no idea there were DNS zone backups, and that is amazing.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and you'll talk, I'm sure, about the database backups. I mean, it is quite a tool. Industry standard for cPanel, and there's a reason. It really does do a lot of the heavy lifting for us.
Yeah, and you guys are getting a peek into some of my test directories. So Apple, yes.
Apple.
Yeah, I was actually at one point creating a Drupal multi-site and all my subsites for different fruits. So that's what I was playing with.
Professional development
There
in
you
action.
go. Yeah, you can see
Wonderful.
quite a few there in the works. But yeah, these are nice just to, I also think it's interesting that for, these sections, you're not choosing the timestamp first. You're seeing them all broken out, which, creates many more records to sift through. Whereas, with the files and I think the full backups, you choose the timestamp first. So anyway, just know that that's available to you. And I think as best practice, if you ever have to restore an account, obviously Reclaim can help with that, but it's good to start at the user level first, as opposed to just going straight to the server, WHM, Jet Backup, and working there, because there's a lot happening there. And it's best just to work in one account as opposed to accidentally restoring or overwriting something in another account. So.
We have a good question. We have some good comments and a good question from Mo. The comment, Matt Davis says, "Stay calm, Jetpack on."
There you
Ooh,
Which I don't want to confuse with WordPress Jetpack.
true.
So Jet
Mhm.
Backup and Jetpack. It's good distinction.
Almost.
Almost. Go, Matt, work a little editing there, but you are
You're close.
and
Almost there.
confusingly for everyone, Jetpack also has backups.
I know, exactly. Which they call like the WordPress vault, right?
I don't even know, but yeah, I know it does it.
And then Mo says, do folks use Jet Backup to archive sites that are taken down? Which is a great question. And actually, we'll talk about archiving later. And that was something M also talked about. But to be clear, Mo, Jet Backups are literally backups and they're rolling. So I would not think of it as an archive of anything, because as time goes on, they go away.
Yeah. In
So-
fact,
Or-
if you've got something that no longer exists, but it only exists in Jet Backup, you want to make a priority of restoring that or downloading it, because it's going to be gone in 30 days after the backup,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So it's not going to exist for very long. So if your only copy of it is the back, right? Remember, backups is a second copy of something, right? So
Yeah.
if your
If
only
you-
copy of Jet Backup, it's going to be gone within 30 days.
Yeah, I would say if you flatten a WordPress site or something similar to
Yeah.
HTML and you keep those HTML files on display as a flat site, those HTML files will go through Jet Backup, but they'll keep getting backed up. They're still on your cPanel, but the site that got flattened will not stay forever.
That's right. And whenever I flatten a site, which basically means you grab WordPress and you get an HTML version of it, and so it's an archival site that lasts a long time, I usually take the core files in database and put them somewhere. whether on my whether in my hosting account or somewhere else. So I know if I ever need to bring that back live to a database driven site, it can be. So that's another way to back up stuff. I do want to say that stay calm, jet backups gone probably doesn't work.
No, that's the opposite of what you want
That's
to do.
not
That's
calm.
time for
That's
panic.
not calming.
But you should still stay calm, even though it's
I
gone.
suppose.
Any other questions? We do have a few minutes. Otherwise, Jim will just continue to find t-shirt and bumper sticker names. So
I don't think I'm alone. Matt's doing a fine job. He's going into draft mode, you know. And okay, here we have a Jackie. Thank you for
Yeah.
Submitting this question. And I'm going to point this to you, Lauren, to see where you're at.
Okay.
Can you go over the difference between the backup wizard and Jet Backups app in cPanel? It's a good one. Very good question, Jackie. Let's see what Lauren has.
why, yes, I can.
Not to put you on the spot.
All right.
And I'll think up more pithy.
Right.
Stay
So,
calm.
yeah, in short, Reclaim wants to provide as many options as possible to you to take the kind of backups that you need. That means that we have Jet Backup, which it's technically a third-party plugin, just like Installatron. We're pulling Jet Backup in because we like Jet Backup's functions and how it works for backup. So it's really important that that's there for us. We also want to keep cPanel's native backup options there as well, just in case you prefer those. So these icons here, backup wizard, are cPanel's backup or standard backup versions. I'll click into them now. Honestly, in full transparency, I don't use these as much as Jet Backup or Installatron application backups, but they are available to you. The one place where this is pretty cool is if you needed to take a full account backup in order to take your cPanel with you when you leave. So this is a nice resource for graduating students, for example. And we do have documentation around that. Same thing, partial backups. If I wanted to manually take a backup of a specific file directory, that's an option. And I can also download database backups here as well, and then upload anything that I might have stored locally to restore. So that's a great just space that cPanel provides natively for managing backups. The backup wizard is essentially the same thing, where you can click backup or restore. So you have both of those options. Honestly, I don't know why they've split it out into two icons, but there you go.
I guess the wizard makes it easier.
Yeah, that's probably it. Is, if I were to prefer one or over the other, I'd probably start with backup wizard. But again, it's just about the type of what you want to feature. I think it is nice to have this full account button just right there in your face, and that might be helpful for graduating students.
Yeah, it walks you through it slightly. It's kind of honestly in classic cPanel fashion. It's in there twice because someone likes it, and cPanel will just they're comfortable with having multiple places to do the same thing.
We're about to spin down this session and get ready for our next, but I will make one quick point as we do that is, Jackie, keep in mind that if you do a full download of a Jet Backup or a kind of database, that won't restore, like Lauren said, to like a clean new cPanel instance. You would have to restore that Jet Backup to cPanel and then take a full backup that you could port with you. And I've made that mistake before, thinking I could do a full cPanel backup from Jet Backup, but you can't, because Jet Backup's using custom code to make their backups that don't necessarily translate in the same way. So the backup tool in cPanel is great for a full backup that you can port to another service, whereas Jet Backup is something you want to use to get your files or databases back online. So,
And with that, we will close and see you at the next session. Thanks everyone for joining.
thanks.